What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren. Get this, hypocrite. Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren in fierce war of words over drug testing. The two rival promoters from the UK, Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, have entered into a war of words on drug testing in the sport of boxing. The current back and forth is by means the first, but certainly has more sting in its tail, even given the importance of the subject matter. It was born from the undisputed super featherweight champion Alicia Baumgardner returning adverse results in a pre-fight doping test for her latest title defense. The results were not reported until nearly 1 month later, with the fight having been and gone. Speaking to media after his Dennis McCain Beluda show at New York Hall, Warren said that he had many concerns about the situation, particularly the use of Drug Free Sport, a U.S. testing agency. He also floated a theory that Baumgardner was about to leave Matchroom, but didn't expand. He said, Frank, it's disgraceful for people outside and inside. And what I'm getting sick of is all this nonsense that's getting spouted out about who's doing what. What concerns me about it is that, first of all, drug free sport do not have the same standards and do not test for substances that VADA and UCAD test for, which is not acceptable. And it's not good that someone takes a sample and puts it on a shelf for 9 days before sending it to the laboratory. What I found concerning was apparently she allegedly was going to leave Matchroom and go and sign with Jake Paul. So you look into that which way you want. Speaking to Boxing Social, now Eddie Hearn had this to say. He said he's criticizing someone who's paying for additional testing and criticizing they only test for certain things. But we're talking about a positive adverse finding, so they must be doing an okay job. He was completely wrong with everything he said. Alicia Baumgardner has got till April next year on her contract. We've also got first and last. We're also negotiating a new deal. You don't want to be attacked by small hall promoters, but at the same time, that's their job. You have to be trying to put yourself up with the big boys. It's obviously an American situation as well. I believe he's not licensed to promote in America at all. Someone should ask the question, is he paying for additional testing for his fights? I believe Joe Joyce's fight has it because the management asked for it, but you've got to protect your fighters. Beluda last night, was he tested? Absolutely not. And Frank will say, yeah, he was tested on the night, but what about the 12 weeks he was preparing? The answer is no, because they don't want to pay for it. That's $30,000 to test Beluda, and that's probably more than his purse. Those are the back and forths between Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. And let me counterpunch. Well, I simply see Frank Warren talking about something that he really doesn't know about entirely. I think that Frank, which a lot of people heard, I heard the same rumor about Alicia was going to leave Matchroom. Well, it was shut down because Eddie Hearn was saying, well, hey, she has until April to still fight with me. Well, April's a while away. Okay, that's what, 8 months away. So that's damn near a year. And him stating that, she's going to sign or had plans to sign with me after that. That's hearsay because there's no guarantee that Alicia will do that. Maybe Alicia don't even know that. You know what I mean? I think he was just trying to lay it on thick to show that she's not going anywhere. You know, but I don't think that could excuse the whole narrative, though, because let's say Alicia is unhappy with her contract currently. Well, she may have had uh, plans to leave Matchroom. And if Matchroom had that, to throw a monkey in the wrench, right, that would be pretty low down. Now, that was the narrative. I don't know where it started from. I don't know who created it, right? But with dealing with extra testing, uh, what Frank is saying that, it shouldn't be held on a shelf for 9 days because it can get contaminated. Yeah, it could. I don't think it's on a shelf. I think it's probably somewhere um, in a refrigerated area. Why would you take blood samples or urine samples and put them somewhere that's not refrigerated, that can at least keep its form of where you got it from. You know what I mean? So this contamination thing, I think, is an issue of protocol and what they should do and how they should handle things, right? Just create certain standards for things not to sit on the shelf for 9 days. What I am concerned about is the fact that Baumgartner was also in the same situation that Dillian White was once in 2019. Well, that being the case, well, if she was able to fight with them finding out some certain things beforehand, that's wrong. And it's still allowing her to fight because that's what happened with Dillian White. And it only shits on the team that they fought because they had no prior knowledge of what was going on. Connor Ben was different, okay, because Chris Eubank and his team knew about Connor Ben's adverse finding and they still wanted to fight. It just got leaked and it got real nasty. But with Alicia, based on what I just read, right? Well, they knew about something going on with her, some kind of findings, and they allowed that fight to happen. That's wrong. So yeah, I think the protocol should change, and I don't care what size promoter you are, you shouldn't allow these things to happen. Okay, and if it does happen, you should get penalized, and the proper steps should be taken for justice. Okay, because it's not right. Now, as far as Eddie Hearn talking about Frank Warren, well, hey, he's not even licensed to actually come about promoting in the U.S. So what would he know about any of that anyway? You know what I mean? And he can't afford for extra testing because he's too cheap and his fighters don't get paid enough to even afford testing. Well, first of all, why would you want to spend that much money on testing anyway? So if someone's testing you, I think that should be enough. I don't think you should criticize extra testing or criticize the idea of extra testing. You should ask the organization why they only test for certain things. If you feel they should test for more, I think you should have a one-stop shop. You shouldn't have all the they only test for this and test for that. Well, who cares? They're testing for whatever they're testing for. And honestly, I don't know if these drugs, I could be right or wrong, but I don't know if these drugs will actually benefit them anyway. And if it is a bad substance, it could do something far worse. It could hurt the fighter or put the fighter's health in danger for even taking the damn test. And if that's the case, or taking the drug, but if that's the case, I think, they should, knowing what the dangers of taking these are, I think they should be advised and have a decision to take it or not. Banned substances, I think, is a lot different from performance enhancing drugs, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of these war words between Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. Who's at fault? Who's in the clear? Who won? Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!